Let's get straight into this 25-minute follow-along bodyweight strength workout for cyclists to improve your cycling performance. We're going to start off with a brief warm-up consisting of 4 40-second exercises for 1 round. First in the warm-up, we've got some squats good mornings. So we're going to have the hands behind the ears. We're going to start off with a squat, and then back to the top, and then hinge into a good morning. So we're going to alternate between this squat and then a hinge, pulling the hips back. So for the squat, we want a big knee bend, chest upright. For the good morning, you want to pull the hips back, lengthen the hamstrings. The whole time keeping an open chest position, engaged shoulder blades, keeping good posture of the upper back. We're going to move on to some alternating single leg Romanian deadlifts. So standing on one leg, hinge at the hip, and you're going to alternate sides. Don't worry if you're wobbling. If you need to, you can hold one arm out onto the wall for balance. Try and keep the back toe pointing down towards the mat. That'll stop you twisting and rotating the hips and keep the stretch on the hamstring. You want a relatively straight supporting bottom leg, but you can unlock it slightly at the knee. From here, we're going to be going onto our knees. You need to take your left hand under and then reach up, and then take the right hand under, reach up. When you reach under, drop the shoulder, look up over the opposite arm. This is a great mobilization for that upper back, which can get a little bit tight, staying in that cycling position, rounded forwards all the time. So it's good to open out that chest and T-spine. And let's do a little core activation and lower back release with some wipers. So you can have your arms out to the side, either outstretched or 90-degree elbows if you're short on space. You've got your knees set at a 90-degree angle, and you're just doing some side-to-side drops. Probably not going all the way down, maybe just 2/3 of the way down each side. Trying to keep the opposite shoulder blade on the floor as you drop your legs away. Okay, let's get ready to go into the main strength workout. The first one we're going to do is cyclist squat. If you've got something to elevate your heels on, I'm going to use these wedges. You can do it without, so don't worry if you haven't got anything. Or you could roll your mat up just to give you a little bit more flexibility in the ankles. So we're going to do 40 seconds of something called a cyclist squat, which is basically just a close foot body weight squat. And if you haven't got anything to elevate your heels on, you can just do a regular body weight squat. So the heel elevation is allowing me to stay more upright in this position, allowing my knees to travel further forwards, getting a greater quad stretch. And if you're just doing a body weight squat, that's fine too. Just get as low as you can. It's called a cyclist squat because it targets your VMO quad muscle, which is heavily used in cycling. Obviously the perfect one for this workout. So bolt upright posture, big knee bend. Great job. Okay, onto the floor now. You're going to lie face down on the mats. Put your arms outstretched, making a Y shape with your torso and arms. You're going to lift your hands as high as you can without overarching your lower back. Hold for a moment at the top of each Y raise rep. Okay, next we're going to be doing a split squat. We're going to split this into 30 seconds per side. So if you start with your right foot forwards, left foot back, you're going to try and keep most of the weight in this front right leg, and then sinking down, gently touching the knee on the mat or floor, and come back up. Make sure that front knee is not collapsing in towards the big toe. You want this front knee pointing directly forwards or even slightly out towards the smaller toes, just to combat that natural tendency to cave in. Quick switch, no gap, straight into it. Just got other leg forwards, sinking down, making sure we're not overarching the lower back, so keeping the ribs drawn in. Okay, next, work on your core strength with some side planks. I'm going to do 30 seconds per side. You've got two options. You can either do a full side plank or you can do a half side plank, depending how challenging you're finding it. There's no transition time, so you can switch straight from one side to the other after your 30 seconds. Okay, now one of my favourite core exercises, we're going to work on some dead bugs. So you're going to lie on your back. The whole point of this is to avoid your lower back arching off the mats whilst we drop opposite sides down. So if your left leg's going down, your right arm's going overhead, the other two stay where they are. Bring them back in and then send the other side down. This does take a bit of practice for coordination. If you're really just not getting it, just hold the arms reaching up towards the ceiling and just do alternating leg drops only, and you get almost all the benefit of the dead bug without the coordination nightmare. But brace that core as you drop down. Avoid any overarch here. You should not be able to see a gap between your lower back. Okay, we're going to stay on our back now. I'm going to go into a single leg glute bridge. So I'm going to do this with a straight left leg. I'm going to glute bridge up with this right leg. I'm going to pop the hips up until my quads are level and I've got a high hip position. So you're going to pause at the top and then down until your glute and heel gently touches the floor, and then straight back up. I'm pushing predominantly off the heel on my right leg and trying to keep the ribs tucked down and in. Quick switch straight into the other side. So left hip drives up, tense the glute on that left side. Stop when your quads are level with one another and you've got full hip extension on that left hip. Avoid any overarching of the lower back by keeping your ribs tucked down and in and your pelvis tucked under. Well done. There's one round done. We're doing 3 rounds in total. We've got 2 more to go. So get a sip of water if you need to. Get ready for those cyclist squats or bodyweight squats. If you've got something to elevate your heel with, it'll give you a much more upright and deep squat position. Into those prone Y raises, focusing on keeping straight arms the whole time, avoiding using the lower back, instead using those posture muscles of the upper back, which often get weak, especially when you're rounded forwards for long periods of time. Into the split squat. This is a nice mix of hamstring and glute work, a little bit of quads in there as well. I'm going to do 30 seconds per side with a quick transition. Getting the back knee to sink nice and low, either coming very close or gently touching the floor. Avoiding an overarch of the lower back by keeping the ribs tucked down and in. Switch sides. Onto your side plank now. I'll show you that half side plank variation if you're finding the full side plank too challenging. So you just bend the bottom leg at the knee, keep the top leg straight. You can hold like this. So your top leg's still in contact with the floor, but just shortening that lever makes it a lot easier. Try not to sink into the shoulder, push down and through. So you're actively pushing your elbow into the floor, opening out that shoulder joint. Quick switch. Onto the dead bugs. You'll notice that all the core work is not like crunch-based core work. It's working something called your transverse abs, which are more like corset muscles. Your transverse abs wrap around your torso and help hold your body steady. So when you're cycling, any movement in the core that's not wanted is just going to be dissipating power that you should be putting into the pedals. So rather than working on that crunch action, which is fine, but it's not going to help you as much as your transverse abs, which are kind of like your plank muscles. Onto the glute bridge next. You can think of having a tight core like having harder suspension. It's going to be more efficient for power. Straight into the other side. Well done, 2 rounds done, 1 to go. I'll show you how you can use your mat to give you heel elevation if you've got nothing else to use. So if you just fold your mat over a couple of times, it should give you enough of a heel elevation to get a much deeper squat. So for the cyclist squat, we're going to have a closer foot position than your standard squat. Having that heel elevation is going to allow us to be more upright. So I could not squat this low unless I'd placed the mat under my heels, not with an upright posture at least. I often get a lot of comments asking how many times a week should people be doing these kind of routines. And I'd say if you're prioritizing your cycling volume and performance, then just doing this 2 or 3 times a week should be enough to give you a good base level of strength and conditioning to support your cycling. And that's it, that's the routine complete. Thanks for joining me, don't go anywhere. Let me know in the comments below, how did you find that and where in the world are you following along from? I really do love to hear that. Why not try one of these 2 cycling specific mobility routines? I've got a foam roller one and a 10-minute stretch, and I'll see you in one of those videos.